はい、よろしくお願いします。僕、英語で説明できることは、まあ、英語で説明しようと思ってるんですけど、
はい、わかりました。
I'm so sorry. It just bumped me off. It happened a few times already. I have no idea why, but even if I disappear, it doesn't kind of it doesn't change anything for you guys. You're still going on. So just to say, I'm going to hide myself, Nora, as you know, and basically once I've hidden myself, just kind of count to 5, and after that start, because that's approximately the time between me disappearing and the audience joining.
Okay, can you let us know when you're about to hide?
Yes, of course. No,
I
will. Of course, I will. I think it will allow 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes, and then then I will go. So I will let you discuss in Japanese anything for the interview right now. I will remain silent now.
なんか聞いてほしい質問ありましたらとか、これについてちょっと説明したいものとかがあれば。
でもまあ、フリーでどんな質問でも大丈夫です。それで、ノラさんにお願いしたいのは、僕、英語で説明できるところは英語で説明しようと思うんですけど、もう全然ダメなことはもう全部ノラさんに日本語で喋りますんで。
もちろんです。
このヘッドホンつけて、このパソコン通してると、実はもう全然聞き取りができないんで、逆に質問の方はノラさんがすぐ日本語に戻してもらって、で日本語で僕に伝えてくれれば、日本語で答えられることは日本語で答えて、英語で答えられることは英語で答えてっていう、シャンポンな感じで。
はい、わかりました。よろしくお願いします。多分英語で聞いて、一回英語で質問を読んでから、日本語に訳して聞いて、で日本語か英語聞いて、で、日本語の部分あったらそれまた英語に返してみたいな感じで、それについて私がまた日本語でなんか返すみたいな。
なんかノラさんが大忙し
いやお願いします。ちょっと日本語と英語両方やるので、こっち喋るのが長くなったら申し訳ないです。ちょっと
全然。
なんか
もうこちらこそ、I'm sorry for my poor English. Sorry.
No, absolutely no worries. It's perfectly fine. So just to kind of clarify, Nora, so you will ask the questions in Japanese and then you will translate into English for the audience, yes? And with the answers.
Yes, or read it. You're going to tell me the questions, right? Or write it down. So say the questions first in English and then in Japanese.
The questions from the audience, yes, but you have your own questions, so they will also be in English, then in Japanese, and then you will translate. The answers. Perfect. Yeah, because I'm sure we will have some Japanese audience as well that will understand, but just to cater for those who might not know the language, we would need
I'll
that
do
in
everything double, and then Mr. Iwama is going to answer some questions in English. And if he gets stuck, he will switch to Japanese, and then
fantastic. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Half English, half Japanese.
I completely understand. It's not easy when you're not speaking in your own language. I'm not English, and I get nervous as well publicly speaking, not in English. So it's I completely understand it and appreciate that you can do parts of it in English. Okay, I think we are right on time, so I'm going to hide myself now and basically just wait a few seconds before kind of starting. Thank you so much, and I will be in touch soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye. ノラさんはロンドン在住なんですか？
東京です。私も東京です。
今東京なんだ、そちら。かわいそう、こんな時間に。
いや全然、そちらこそ。
東京のお生まれで、こちらでずっと暮らしてらっしゃる？
もともとウィーン生まれで、でも東京はもう7年前から住んでるので、ここで大学通って。
ウィーン？
はい、オーストリアのウィーンです。
ウィーンは昨日大変な事件が起きちゃって。
もう、Q&A が始まるみたいんで。
はい。
はい。じゃあ、Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm interviewing Iwama Gen-san for his work, The Past is Always New, The Future is Always Nostalgic. First, I wanted to ask you, what was your motivation behind creating this documentary? このドキュメンタリー映画を作ろうと思ったきっかけは何ですか?
Oh, yes. I was originally a TV director and producer. I've been making various TV shows for 30 years. This is my first movie work. So this means I am an old new director. Actually, I made a TV documentary show of photographer Daido Moriyama about 25 years ago. It was broadcasted in 1996. And 20 years after broadcasting that program in 2016, 4 years ago from now, a special talk show was held. Participants were Daido Moriyama and myself. And after that talk show, there was a question and answer section. At that time, one audience asked me a question, which was something like this. Mr. Iwama, why don't you shoot the current Daido Moriyama on TV now? In the last 20 years, photography has changed a lot. Camera and shooting method have changed a lot, changed remarkably, significantly from analog to digital. However, Daido Moriyama continues to photograph the city without changing his style at all. In such an interesting situation, why don't you shoot the current Daido Moriyama on TV now? Why? Suddenly hit me. And I thought it, and I thought about it. That's maybe true. I saw that there must be something to express today because I recorded the former Daido Moriyama. What's the current state of Daido Moriyama? But he is now a big name. A few years ago, he held an exhibition with William Klein at the Tate Gallery in London, you know. Photographer fans around the world respect him. He no longer fits on the scale of TV show. I consulted him. Would you please let me make a movie? He said, I don't like a large group of filmmakers for movies. Chief camera, second camera, audio, sponsor, assistants, producers, etc. I don't like a large group. But if you shoot alone, I allow it. Really? Alone? I was very surprised, but inspired. All right, I'll do it. In this way, I was in charge of shooting, editing, and directing. I was in charge of 3 roles at the same time. 1 year for shooting and 1 year editing. It was very happy and tense time because I made it by myself. So I could not blame anyone. That's it.
わかりました。Thank you very much. So you mentioned that.
Is it okay, my poor English?
Yes, it was perfect. Thank you. Not
Really?
You mentioned that Mr. Moriyama asked you to shoot as one person, just with one crew member yourself. So I was gonna ask, do you think Mr. Moriyama's style of photography and his philosophy kind of inspired the way the movie was made and your shooting style? お一人で撮影されたということで、その上で気を使ったことなど、そしてドキュメンタリーの撮り方で森山さんの写真または森山さんのその写真に関する哲学でなんか受けたところはありますか
？Yes. Well, I was very surprised that he was no different than 20 years ago. 25 years ago, he hadn't changed at all. For him, the change from analog to digital was not a big deal. He walks around the city and takes pictures of the city with a small camera. He works for a surprisingly long time, and he shoots a surprising amount. He doesn't look like an old man over 80 years old. His style and attitude haven't changed at all. It's wonderful that this hasn't changed at all. People usually change with circumstance, aging, and the passage of time, but he doesn't change at all. Working for a long time and taking a lot of pictures, I was very impressed with his unchanged appearance. And in shooting, after switching on and activating the camcorder, it's too late for his snapshot. Daido Moriyama shoots an incredible amount of pictures a day. Moreover, he takes a quick shot and walks away. If I had my camcorder running, I wouldn't be in time to shoot him. After all, when I took his snapshot, I decided never to turn off the video. So when I edited it, I was surrounded by a lot of material. It totaled about 500 hours. But I was struggling every day to decide how to choose it. However, since I had decided from the beginning to describe the process of making a photo book from a tree, I didn't hesitate edit or compose. He always says he likes mass-printed photographs. He likes them better than original vintage prints. He likes mass printing photograph. For him, mass printing is inseparable from his photography expression. When I heard that, I decided to make this movie a print story of photo book. And I was struggling every day. That's it.
I thought while watching the movie, it was very interesting to see Mr. Moriyama run around and take pictures and being very curious. But then I imagined you at the same time were running around and being curious about him and following him. 森山さんがすごく足が速くて、なんかいろんなものに興味を持って、好奇心旺盛であちこち走って撮ったりしているのを、そこまた岩間さんがこう走って、森山さんに興味を持って撮ってるっていうのを想像してて面白かったです。そこの。
ありがとう。Thank you very much.
We've got some new questions. Let me just check.
Yes.
From Raw News, what were the main aspects of Moriyama as a person and artist that you wanted to relate to your audience? Oh, I think we've covered that pretty much with your last answer. また、森山さんで一番の一番見てる人に森山さんについて分かってほしかったとか、その一番ドキュメンタリーで伝えたかったこと何かあれば。
He often says the camera is just a practical tool. I don't care about the camera model. Anything is fine. In fact, his camera is very small and practical, and never expensive. He wants people to like photograph more and more. He hope. And actually, when I watched this movie, he said to me like this. This is nice movie. I'm glad. He said, this is nice movie, both objectively and subjectively. And thank you so much for making a wonderful movie. And I hope, he says, I hope people will like photography more through this movie, he said. That's what he said.
Yes, I could feel his passion and love for photography through the movie, just how much he just really enjoys the process of taking pictures and going around. なんかその森山さんの写真に対する愛と情熱がとっても伝わりました。本当にこれのために生きてるっていう。
Thank you.
I think, yes. Well, if there aren't, we've got a new one. The next question is, the documentary is shot in a very colorful, saturated way, in direct contrast to Moriyama's famous black and white work. What inspired this choice? ドキュメンタリー自体が、結構色が濃くて彩りが結構あるドキュメンタリー仕上がりになっているのに、森山さんの写真が白黒のものが多くて、そこあえて白黒じゃなくてカラフルな撮り方にしたのかっていう質問でした。
Yes, I wanted to difference from now city appearance and his black and white photograph. And unexpectedly, this film records the world before the pandemic. As a result, looking back now, the film shows the world before the pandemic. Of course, I wasn't what I was aiming for. However, as a result, it is interesting to see the former appearance of New York, Paris, and Tokyo. People are crowded without masks.
Yes.
And many people are gathering in the closed spaces and the streets. Cities around the world are full of energy and excitement. Unexpectedly, it is interesting the movie records the world before the pandemic. The world before the pandemic and very fresh, colorful factor is very good. And so it is related to my film title. It is the past is always new, and the future is always nostalgic. It's usually the opposite, isn't it?
Yes.
Usually the past is always nostalgic and the future is always new. But this title isn't the opposite. Actually, this title was originally the title of a collection of essays written by Daido Moriyama.
Yes.
He says in his essay like this. He says, in the past, various signs leading to the present are hidden in the past. In the future, various known things from the present are hidden. The past is not just a memory that has passed. The future is not a dream world that we haven't seen yet. The past and the future are mixed to create the present. When I read his essay, I thought, oh, it's just like his creation method. His old black and white photograph works are as if they were taken right now, just now. On the contrary, his new colorful photograph are nostalgic, as if they were taken decades ago. Color and monotone is related to past and future.
Yes.
Mixed past and future. Okay.
Yes. So his newer colorful images look more nostalgic than his older black and white images, and you chose the colorful to shoot the movie in a very colorful way, edit it to color in a colorful way, in order to have a contrast with his black and white images that are mixed in between the movie. その時々出てくる森山さんの写真とこうコントラストがあるようにあえてこうカラフルに編集されたっていう理解でよろしいですか？
Yes, yes, yes.
And also, I was wondering about the title. So thank you for explaining that. タイトルとの関係性が気になりましたので、聞けてよかったです。もう一つ最後の質問がありますので、Let's go to our last question.
Okay.
What can budding art and street photographers and anyone newer to the general photography scene learn from Moriyama's work? This is also from Raw News. この若手のカメラマン、今カメラを勉強されている方が、または、ストリートのカメラ、ストリートの写真撮っている方などが、森山さんの、作品から学ぶことは何でしょうか？現在のカメラマンたちが。
Okay.
写真家が。
The most important point is amount of photograph. He takes a photography amazing amount, surprising amount a day. He often says it is more important, amount is more important than quality. Walk, and take a picture every day. That's all, he often says. And camera is not just a practical tool. Don't care about expensive camera model. No, anything is okay. Most important is working and taking. That's all. He often says.
カメラはただの道具で、とりあえず、質より量ですね。So it's all about the quantity, and the camera itself is not important. What's important is taking pictures every day. I see.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I think we've already almost at 30 minutes. So since that was the last question, do you have anything? Okay. Then I think we have to leave now. Thank you so much. ありがとうございました。とても勉強になりました。面白かったです。